much, and good afternoon, countrymen and women and the youth of our country. This afternoon, on this beautiful day of 20th April 2025, government would like to ventilate on a number or a few issues of interest to us that they cannot be left uncommented, given their importance and also given the latitude within which speculation can be fueled, leading to our people and our citizens being misinformed. Let me indicate here that I have taken note of a press statement circulating on social media and other media platforms being quoted also by mainstream media, attributed to Media Owners Association of Zambia, the Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA, the Catholic Media Services, BBC Media Action, Panos Institute of Southern Africa, Press Initiative, Free Press Initiative, and the Media Self-Regulation Council of Zambia. And this press statement is under the headline, Media Fraternity Says No to Zambia Institute of Journalism Bill and Statutory Media Regulation. So it is this press statement which has been issued by the media bodies that we wish to respond to this afternoon. I want to indicate that this statement is to the effect.
So you count me down, we go direct to you, right?
Should be serious.
5, 3, 4.
Good afternoon, countrymen and women and the youth of our country. This afternoon of 20th April 2025, we are here in Choma at the government complex where a government wishes to speak to one very important issue that need government to pronounce itself for the sake of our citizens, not to be misinformed, and indeed for the benefit of the media fraternity, for whom this is intended as for their good of understanding. I have taken note of a statement circulating on social media and being quoted by various media houses. This statement, under the rubric or headline, Media Fraternity Says No to Zambia Institute of Journalism Bill and Statutory Regulation. And the same press statement is attributed to the Media Owners Association of Zambia, Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA, Catholic Media Services, BBC Media Action, the Panos Institute of Southern Africa, Free Press Initiative, and the Media Self-Regulation Council of Zambia. This statement is to the effect that government has come up with a bill to regulate the media. It is not true to say that the government has come up with any bill to regulate the media. The bill so herein before referred to has not been initiated by government. The bill was initially initiated by journalists under the umbrella body called Media Liaison Committee, and it has a long history before the UPND New Dawn administration took office. Let me give a background of this alleged bill, or the like bill that is being referred to. Number one, the Media Liaison Committee first submitted the Zambia Media Council ZAMEC layman's bill in 2020, or slightly earlier than that, through the Ministry of Information to the Ministry of Justice. The intention of the bill was to set up a statutory media self-regulation or regulatory framework. The ZAMEC bill failed to go through internal legislative committee at the Ministry of Justice for the reason that it had some provisions that had the same effect as those as contained and or as provided for under the Independent Broadcasting Authority IBA Act. This, therefore, was going to create conflict between ZAMEC and IBA if the ZAMEC bill were to have been let to go through. The government sent ZAMEC back to go and remove provisions in the ZAMEC draft bill that provided for powers to ZAMEC that were already being exercised by the IBA. The Media Liaison Council did not come back to government. What they wanted was self-regulation, so that if they were going to leave regulatory powers to the IBA, their bill was going to be of little or no efficacy at all. Following the change of government in 2021, the Media Liaison Committee approached government to facilitate establishment of self-regulatory mechanisms that would have nothing to do with the media houses, but just to be a professional body for trained journalists. The Media Liaison Council or Committee submitted the ZAMEC layman's bill to the Ministry of Information and Media, which in turn forwarded it to the Ministry of Justice for drafting purposes. That was around 2022. While the layman's bill was with the Ministry of Justice, the Media Owners Association of Zambia held a press conference expressing dissatisfaction and rather condemning government for facilitating for that bill. The Media Owners Association of Zambia alleged that the bill contained provisions that were harmful to their operations. The Ministry of Information and Media responded by recalling that bill in order to facilitate dialogue between the Media Owners Association of Zambia and the Media Liaison Committee. In a meeting attended by both parties and chaired by the then Permanent Secretary, Mr. Kalunga, Media Owners Association of Zambia was asked to point out the provisions that were injurious to the operations of their businesses. The Media Owners Association of Zambia at that time was unable to vividly, clearly, and categorically, in no uncertain terms, point out to any provisions substantially, but the ministry still advised the Media Owners Association of Zambia to go and have a second look and dialogue with the Media Liaison Committee in order to come up a common position on the issue of self-regulation and or call by the Media Liaison Council to have a professional body regulated. The Media Association of Zambia has been in touch with the Ministry of Information not too long ago, where this issue was one of the issues that were deliberated upon, and the Ministry of Information and Media assured the Media Owners Association of Zambia that it shall not take any step whatsoever to begin an initiation of a process leading to media statutory regulation whatsoever, unless and until, if need be, there was consensus between media stakeholder players, and one which must be agreeable upon themselves and with the ministry as facilitator and not initiator. This we have agreed with the Media Owners Association of Zambia, and therefore, as Ministry of Information and Media, we are taken aback to find that media bodies have ascribed to undersign to a statement that is calling on government not to go ahead with a purported Zambia Institute of Journalism bill, when any bill that affects the media, for it to be initiated by the ministry to the level of the Ministry of Justice and or to Cabinet, the main stakeholders will have to be caught in discussion. It be a media-related bill and or relating to any other sector of our society. I want to point out here that while the Ministry of Information and Media was waiting for feedback from the two parties, that is to say, Media Owners Association of Zambia and the Media Liaison Committee, the Media Owners Association of Zambia announced the formation of their own model of self-regulation mechanism. Following that development, the Media Liaison Committee came back to the Ministry of Information and Media to request that since Media Owners Association of Zambia, or MOAS, has opted to form their own model, they wanted to proceed with theirs as well. The Media Liaison Committee therefore decided to change their name from Zambia Media Council, that is the name of the bill which they had preferred, the ZAMEC bill, to the Zambia Institute of Journalists, to make it clear that they were only interested to and wanted a professional body whose members subscribe to a code of ethics and conduct and standards of professionals only, and not including those who are interested in the media fraternity, such as business people who are major stakeholders in media houses. The Media Liaison Committee has since redrafted by itself their bill and resubmitted to the Ministry of Justice through the Ministry of Information and Media for purposes of requesting the Ministry of Justice to assist the Media Liaison Committee to redraft the ZAMEC bill into the Zambia Institute of Journalists bill professionally, not as a layman's draft. And that layman's draft, as we speak, is with the Ministry of Justice, the Internal Legislative Committee, for purposes of facilitating, as requested by the Media Liaison Council, drafting that bill from layman's draft into a professionally drafted bill for purposes of them having a document which they can now use to sell to their membership or interested parties as a beginning bargaining point to move the process forward of their own initiation and choice. Let me point out very clearly here and place on record that in all this that I have alluded to above, the Ministry of Information and Media has got nothing to do whatsoever with the Zambia Institute of Journalists Bill in terms of its conceptualization, in terms of its initiation, and in terms of their intended final object, that is creation of a professional body to be regulated like any other professional body, such as the Law Association of Zambia, such as the accountants, and such as other professional bodies that are desirous to codify by way of an act of parliament their code of ethics and standards, to which it will be used as a guide to measure their professionalism and thus make them accountable in terms of ethics and standards. Therefore, put clearly, government has not initiated any bill called the Zambia Institute of Journalists Bill. The Zambia Institute of Journalists Bill is a bill that was initiated by private journalists who are seeking a modification of the Zambia Media Council Bill, which was withdrawn by government because of the inconsistencies and of apparent provisions that were directly in sync with what was already provided for under the Independent Broadcasting Authority, and therefore might have caused application challenges as to which act was applicable. Therefore, the Media Liaison Council is asking the Minister of Justice to help them to redraft that ZAMEC bill into the Zambia Institute of Journalists Bill. That bill in question is not an initiation of government. Government at the Ministry of Information and Media has not initiated such a bill. Government at the Ministry of Information and Media has not generated any CAB memo to Cabinet to indicate an intention for the initiation of the Zambia Institute of Journalists Bill. As the nation will know, before a bill can be referred to the Ministry of Justice for legislative consideration through the legislative committee at the Ministry of Justice, which includes ministers in consideration of a particular bill referred to the legislative committee of cabinet. Such a bill should first be cleared by cabinet by way of a CAB memo prepared and taken to cabinet and read out before cabinet by the initiating ministry, giving out the rationale and the object for which is intended to be achieved by such initiation of the bill in question. To this end, and as Minister of Information and Media, we have not initiated any such bill. We have not generated any CAB memo. Cabinet is not in receipt of any cab memo. Therefore, we would like the nation, particularly the media fraternity, to know that the Zambia Institute of Journalists Bill is a layman's draft that has been referred to the Legislative Committee of the Ministry of Justice for purposes of requesting the ministry to redraft the same into a professionally standing bill so that the same can be used for consultative purposes amongst those who are interested into the creation of a professionally statutorily regulated body. That is as it is at present. We want, therefore, to indicate that government remains committed to ensuring that whatever laws or bill we are going to promulgate as Ministry of Information and Media, and indeed any other ministry, all relevant stakeholders will be engaged beforehand and will not discover a bill at the stage it has already been drafted. The government is also duty-bound to respond to all its citizens in terms of being available to provide drafting skills or expertise to those who may wish to prepare a certain codification of their intentions for purposes as indicated to commence consultations by themselves and not by governments. I have, and we have noted as government, the contents, therefore, of the letter from the various media bodies, or which is referred to as a press statement, to which they are expressing reservations about this particular bill and linking it to the cyber security bill as one where citizens' freedoms will be suppressed and or oppressed. Let me indicate here that the New Dawn administration of President Hakainde Hichilema remains steadfast and committed to ensuring that the media continue to enjoy their freedoms as guaranteed by the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. Therefore, any maneuver, any measure, or any piece of legislation that may be passed which is at variance with the constitutionally guaranteed freedoms would definitely not see the light of day. I want to indicate here that by passing the Access to Information Act into law, the New Dawn administration has demonstrated political will and leadership will to remain transparent and accountable in the management of national affairs for and on the behalf of the people of Zambia. The passage, therefore, of the ATI is living testament that this is an open government that has no hidden agenda for which it will enact laws in order to gag the media. The government will not gag the media. Let me indicate here that in this country presently, we do have 254 radio and television media houses that are fully licensed and operational. And out of these 254 radio and television media houses operational and licensed in Zambia, they are all regulated by the Independent Broadcasting Authority via the Independent Broadcasting Authority Act of 2002, which presently government is seeking to bring before the floor of Parliament for possible amendment to bring it in tandem with the dynamic dictates of the moment given technological advancements that have attended thus far. Therefore, when you look at 254 media houses regulated by IBA, which is statutory regulation, you also have to know that none of the 254 media houses that are regulated via IBA is complaining that because they are regulated by statutory law, therefore their freedoms of expression and speech have been limited and or inhibited. None. In Zambia today, the only media houses that are not regulated this far, the main ones, are 5. Namely, the Times of Zambia, the Daily Mail, the Daily Nation, Must newspaper, and Diggers newspaper. The rest of the media houses, radio stations and TV stations, are regulated statutorily by the Independent Broadcasting Authority. Is anyone out there contending that Radio Phoenix, Diamond TV, Movie TV, Prime TV, Sun, TV, 5FM, Millennium TV, name them, that they are being gagged because there is a statutory regulation for which they ascribe to under IBA? The answer is no. I'm just giving that as an extension, therefore, of the response to say, one, government is not coming up with any further regulation in respect of the media. The existing laws presently are being amended, namely the IBA and also the Zambia National Broadcasting Authority, Act. Those are the ones that are being preferred to Parliament for possible amendment. There is no further bill that is before government for possible amendment. Like I've indicated, the Media Liaison Council is the one, which is Media Liaison Council of Zambia is the one which is calling for the codification of a bill that would provide for professional journalists only to be accountable to it, and not just everybody else who is in the media industry. That is the argument they are putting before. In the like manner that other professional bodies are regulated. As government, we have not reached to that stage, and we want to therefore comfort our dear colleagues in the media that we are not presenting any such bill before Parliament because it doesn't exist. So, the door for the Ministry of Information and Media remains wide open for further consultations on this matter to ensure that we do not have divergent views over a matter for which we must be agreeable. For us as government, we remain steadfast in the knowledge that if any codification of aspirations into a bill had to take effect, all relevant stakeholders who are interested to that particular faculty should be agreed upon, and then us as government, we are merely facilitators. There are bills for which government may be seen to be the initiator. Certainly not one relating to the media, particularly that it has been outstanding for a long time, and the media this far, fraternity, has made strides in ensuring self-regulation, to which, as government, we are comfortable the strides that are being made, and I would like to invite the leaders of media houses at their earliest instance that we convene to be able to clarify these matters further. Otherwise, we are on the same page. Relating to the cyber security bill, I want to indicate that government, through the Ministry of Information and Media, working hand in hand with the Ministry of Justice, will soon commence countrywide sensitization programs to ensure that we bring all our citizens up to speed with the provisions contained in the recently passed by Parliament cyber security law, one which we believe as government is in good standing, and like it was seen on the floor of the House, it was widely supported. We must, however, state that we acknowledge and are cognizant of the fact that some stakeholders have received the cybersecurity law with mixed feelings. Some of them have gone ahead to assert that the cybersecurity law is intended to begin to breach the privacy of citizens, to begin surveillance of private communications, to begin recording of private conversations between members of the public in Zambia. That is not the position as contained in that particular piece of legislation. We therefore realize as government that a lot much more education and sensitization around this cybersecurity law has to be done for the citizens to know that this law is meant to protect them, firstly, as citizens, because there has been a lot of abuse of the cyberspace relating to cyberbullying and also relating to scamming. A lot of citizens have been scammed, they've lost a lot of money, a lot of conversations have been recorded without prior authorization of those who were recorded. Those are the things that the cyber security law is seeking to arrest as mischief and not to promote. So that as government we take note of, and we shall soon hit the ground to interface with our citizens so that we are on the same page. Thank you for joining us, dear colleagues who joined us. If we do have questions, I'm ready to respond to those questions so that we can close.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. We now open it up for questions through our various online platforms and from the members of the press that we have present here. Any questions, colleagues? It seems we have none. Honorable Minister, I'll give you an opportunity.